All right, hi, Eric Stromquist here with Ken Smyers, the man, myth, the legend from Control Trends. We are giving Jerry, the real legend, a break to go have a little bit of lunch. So very, very pleased to be here, huh, Kenny?
Oh yeah, it's fun to be back here. It's quite a conference. Congratulations.
Just 20 years.
20 years, that's very impressive. Well done, Jim,
Howard,
Lisa, and the team.
So Leon, before we introduce you, how do you guys celebrate anniversaries down under?
I think it's the same way that you guys do. Yeah.
In other words,
a few more kangaroos, though.
If you forget about it, you're in big trouble, right?
Yeah.
Got you.
All right.
How about introducing our guest?
I'd love to, Eric. We have Leon Wurfel. He's the CEO of BUENO, but BUENO actually stands for something, Leon.
Yeah, BUENO stands for Built Environment Optimization. So it's a clever little abbreviation we did of what our mission is.
Well, yeah, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So BUENO develops and operates a technology platform that sits over the top of operational technology in buildings. And that's actually any type of operational technology, whether that's HVAC and EMS, whether that's elevators and escalators, fire panels. There are all some really strong use cases, some really compelling use cases for putting an analytics technology over the top of all these other operational technology systems too.
So you basically take big data and you apply it to asset management, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what we do in a nutshell. And we deliver end-to-end managed services within the confines of Australia. And then outside of Australia, we license our software via a SaaS model to partners or enterprise customers who can then deliver their own services themselves, their own data-driven engineering services to their own end customers or buildings.
Well, let's talk about data a little bit because, analytics and data, there's been a buzzword for a while around here. What makes yours different?
So what makes ours different? Number one is the breadth of different solutions, right? That's kind of what I've already touched on. A lot of people in this space kind of blinkered to what the applications are because they've come from a traditional building automation space or an energy management space. Whereas we don't ignore that there's really good opportunities to connect to these other systems, but the driver's just not going to be energy costs. It might be better risk management, might be better maintenance productivity, or it might be just de-leveraging yourself from being so dependent on one vendor. So that's one key differentiator. Second key differentiator is root cause. Our algorithms get straight to the root cause of every problem. Third differentiator is workflow, which we're about to talk about in a second. We have the complete suite of tools that you need to get value out of the analytics technology. And the last thing is scale. Over the last 5 years, we're now rolled out over 1,300 buildings.
Wow. Congratulations.
Very impressive. Tell us a little bit about the portfolio before we get into the slides.
Yeah, so we have a large number of office buildings. We've got, one of our big clients in Australia is Woolworths, a grocery store. They're one of the top 25 retailers in the world. We've got probably 4 out of the 5 top REITs across all of their portfolios in Australia. Our Canadian partners, Rycom, have recently won contracts to roll out to the Canadian government. So I think we're doing pretty well.
Well done.
Well, you look a little bit younger than me and Ken. So you're the CEO, you started this company. There's got to be a story there. How did you get started?
Yeah, I was an energy consultant. And I was spending a lot of time manually getting data out of all of these different systems, putting them in a spreadsheet and trying to do the same thing, trying to get to the same conclusions, but doing it with manalytics rather than analytics.
Nice.
Well, your looks belie your experience. You have over 30 years of experience. I looked at your bio before we got into this.
Oh, I've got 12 years of experience. I'm only 35. Oh. I didn't start this when I was 5 years old.
Oh, well, I thought you did. It says right here, just how genius.
Kenny, he's talking about you.
Okay.
So, man, you got some slides. Tell us what you got here.
Yeah, I guess what I really wanted to talk to you guys about was how we create value for our customers. And to talk to you about where the value actually comes from with these analytic type technologies. And I'm going to say something pretty controversial first. And the first thing is that analytics aren't value. In a vacuum, analytics are just information.
Sure.
And if you don't use that information to take good actions or make good decisions, they're not providing you any value. If you're just following a standard preventative maintenance model, preventative operational model without analytics, at least you're getting some value because you're taking action. But the real power comes from aligning the analytics to make the best use of your actions, to get more productive.
Sure.
What has changed in the industry is that there's a whole lot of new technologies out there. What hasn't changed in the industry is to actually get value out of this stuff. You've still got someone rolling their sleeves up and turning a wrench or tuning a control loop. That part of the equation hasn't changed.
And probably never will, hopefully.
Right?
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's not magic, yeah.
Robots pop up doing that stuff. I mean, if we look at the workflow, all that we've changed is that the way that we identify issues. rather than running off a weekly checklist or a quarterly checklist, we're using the data to define what actions we're going to take with our maintenance tasking. But everything from the analytics onwards, it still follows the operational model that every building uses. It doesn't fall within the scope of the maintenance contract. If not, do I need a quote? Do I need to wait for a PO from my contractor? Are we waiting for the work in progress to be completed? Are we reviewing this stuff before we close it out? The only thing that's changed is the first step. So what we did was a really interesting bottleneck analysis. So we wanted to know where the bottlenecks are to getting more value for our customers.
That's a great analogy.
So what we did was we looked at our 250 biggest buildings. These are all buildings bigger than 100,000 square feet. I think I left square meters up there. That's a down under artifact. But if we look at those 250 biggest buildings, we're getting 63,000 hits on rules every day.
Wow.
Which relate to 4,600 or 500 unique issues on those buildings. Every day we're getting hits on. Wow. There's 4,500 unique issues we're picking up every day.
Wow.
But then you look at how that flows through the rest of the operational workflow. We're only seeing 66 issues get worked on and 20 issues get closed. And now that's a hell of a lot better than what was before, what was happening before we were on there. But still, what it really shows to me is that the bottleneck isn't the technology. We could come up with a God algorithm that would add 1 million more issues that we're identifying every day, and if we don't make that 20 go up to 21, then we haven't done anything for our customers.
Right.
So the bottleneck is in how people are operationally integrating these technologies into their business. Just bolting this stuff onto your business without changing your operational framework isn't going to be good enough.
Well, Leon, tell us like an example. I saw somewhere where you have great partnerships. You have partnerships with Tritium, Honeywell, Reliable, all the major manufacturers. So how would you take BUENO and lay that on top of an existing system? So
due to the fact that we've installed on more than 1,300 buildings now, we've had to run into every single type of automation system. And there's some examples of the BMS vendors, but we also integrate with refrigeration, parking navigation, parking payment systems, elevators and escalators. So we've had to figure out solutions so that we can work together with those guys and provide that analytics layer over the top of the way that they're operating their services.
Yeah, the escalators and elevators is kind of, you don't hear a lot of that being integrated. That's kind of unique, isn't it?
It's really cool. So we work with some hotels in Australia, and some of the stuff that we've found out of monitoring that elevator data is really interesting. So they're really interested in entrapments and all the kind of operational issues, how well their maintenance is being conducted. But we're actually seeing really interesting profiles through the elevator usage where we can identify when back-of-house staff are not using the lifts properly. If they take over a guest lift, we can pick that up because they'll press the up button and the down button at the same time, and then they'll key the lift off, and that's a marker for when they're not using the lifts properly. We can also see there's a kind of a signature when we see them doing their cleaning runs through the hotel as well, because you see the pattern of the lifts cascading down through the building. You can see the duration that the people have spent on each floor. Have they spent enough time to do their job properly? And you can see the load in the lifts increasing as it gets further down the building.
Interesting.
Because you're collecting more rubbish.
Well, Leon, everybody has a favorite job, a challenging job. Tell us about one of your most favorite applications where you really solved a lot of issues and delivered a very happy product.
Well, there's a really interesting job that we're working on right now. It's not complete, but it's ongoing. And it's a really, I just think it's a really interesting use case of the power of integrating all these different systems. So we're working with one of the big banks in Australia on their headquarters, and they're really interested in utilization. They want to know how their people are utilizing their space so that they can design their next fit-outs better and they can build their next headquarters better.
Sure.
But what they don't want is to go and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a new utilization measurement system with beacons and all that kind of stuff, because they've already got so much data in their buildings already. So we are integrating with every single system in that building, whether that's elevators, access control, the EMS, the lighting control, and we're picking out clues from each one of those systems to give them a measure of their utilization in the building. So obviously the access control, we know who's coming in and out. The activity of the PIRs tell us where there's movement in the space. Through the EMS, we can see where the plug loads are being utilized because people are plugging their workstations in. We can see the flow through the building from the elevators, and by finding clues in each one of these different systems, we can actually put together a pretty good picture of what their utilization is. And the best part about it is that the whole project is paid for out of the business case of doing data-driven operations on all of those OT systems anyway, so they basically get utilization for free.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. So it sounds like the thing I heard that's most impressive is it's like you're closing the loop, right? You take the data, you make it actionable, you track it, you close the loop, and that's pretty spectacular. So how does the community get hold of you?
You can send us an email, hello, HELLO, at buenosystems.com.au.
Perfect,
Awesome.
perfect. All right. Well, let's look out and say, what's Jim and Howard and the rest, a happy anniversary, down under style.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary.
All right. Thanks, Leon.
Okay, Leon.